For decades, America had one advantage no country could match. It wasn't NASA, it wasn't SpaceX, it was something orbiting silently above your head every single day. That advantage is disappearing, not because a rocket exploded, not because of a single dramatic event. It's disappearing because of thousands of small engineering decisions made over 10 years that most people never noticed. Here's what changed, and why it matters more than any rocket launch. America's space advantage was never really about going to space. It was about staying there, in enormous numbers, doing quiet, unglamorous jobs. GPS satellites telling ships and missiles exactly where they are. Early warning satellites watching for a launch anywhere on Earth. Reconnaissance satellites photographing a runway on the other side of the planet. Communication satellites linking a soldier in the field to a command center in Virginia. None of that requires a rocket to be reusable or beautiful. It requires satellites, lots of them working together, replaced constantly, upgraded constantly. That's what the US built first. Decades of head start meant decades of orbital infrastructure that no other country had. That head start is now shrinking, fast. So how did China actually close this gap? Not with one breakthrough, with an industrial decision. For years, China built satellites the way most countries do, one at a time, custom designed, slow to produce. That works if you need 10 satellites. It doesn't work if you need thousands. So China restructured its entire space industry around one goal: treat satellites like a manufacturing product, not a science project. That single decision changes everything downstream. When a satellite is standardized, you can build the same bus, the same power system, the same components over and over on an assembly line instead of a workbench. And once you can mass-produce the satellite, the bottleneck moves somewhere else, to the rocket that has to carry it up. This is where China made its second decision: launch cadence over launch elegance. The United States, through SpaceX, solved this with reusability, landing and reflying the same booster to drive down cost per launch. China, for most of the last decade, didn't have that option, so it compensated with volume. Multiple rocket families running in parallel, launching every few weeks instead of every few months. The Long March 8A was purpose-built for exactly one job: hauling 9 satellites at a time into orbit for China's Guowang broadband constellation on a cadence approaching once a month. It's not the most elegant rocket in the world. It doesn't need to be. It needs to fly, land nothing, and fly again next month. That's a trade-off. Expendable rockets cost more per launch than reusable ones. But if your satellites are cheap and standardized, and your factories can build faster than your rockets can fly, then cadence, not efficiency, becomes the thing that actually determines how fast a constellation grows. China accepted a more expensive path to orbit in exchange for not waiting on reusability to mature. That's the engineering trade that quietly closed a decade-long gap. And China is now building the reusable rockets anyway. Vehicles like the Long March 12A are in active flight testing, meaning the volume strategy was never the end state. It was the bridge. Here's the part most people miss entirely. Rockets are not the advantage. Satellites are. A rocket is a truck. It's important, nothing gets to orbit without it, but a truck doesn't do anything by itself. It just delivers cargo. The cargo is what matters. A rocket that launches successfully but carries an outdated single-purpose satellite has accomplished very little. A rocket that carries a modern, networked, AI-capable satellite has just added a new sensor to a live surveillance grid. This is why satellite count, not launch count, is the real scoreboard. According to Wall Street Journal reporting on US tracking data, The number of Chinese satellites dedicated to imaging, navigation, and signals intelligence rose from 99 in 2016 to nearly 600 by the middle of 2026, a roughly six-fold increase in a decade. China's navigation constellation, Beidou, now flies 56 satellites, more than the 31 that make up America's GPS network. None of that happened because China launched more rockets for the sake of launching more rockets. It happened because each rocket was now delivering a mass-produced, purpose-built satellite into a network designed to work as a whole system, tracking ships, guiding weapons, relaying communications, independent of any other country's infrastructure. That's the aha moment. A single satellite is a data point. A constellation is a capability. And capability, not hardware, is what shifts a balance of power. So what does this actually change?
It doesn't mean China has overtaken the United States. Independent assessments, including a 2026 report from the US-based Information Technology and Innovation Foundation, describe China as narrowing the gap in space innovation, not closing it entirely. The US still holds a wide edge in reusable launch, in deep space operations, and in decades of accumulated orbital experience. But in specific categories, navigation satellite count, real-time reconnaissance, and the sheer density of low Earth orbit infrastructure, the report and multiple intelligence assessments describe China as pulling roughly even or ahead. That has consequences that go beyond bragging rights. A denser Chinese satellite network means better real-time tracking of ships and aircraft in the Pacific. It means more resilient navigation that doesn't depend on GPS, which matters enormously in any scenario where GPS could be jammed or denied. It means more communication relay capacity for coordinating forces or scientific missions, including China's own lunar and deep space program, which is now timed to compete directly with NASA's return to the moon. None of this guarantees an outcome. It does guarantee that space is no longer a domain where the US can assume it's simply ahead by default. The next chapter of this rivalry won't be decided by who lands on the moon first. It'll be decided by who can build, launch, and replace satellites faster than the other side can catch up. So here's the question worth sitting with. If the real advantage in space isn't the rocket, but the network of satellites above us, who do you think is actually building the better network? And why? So that's it for today, folks. Leave your thoughts in the comments. If you love this type of content, smash that like button. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It really goes a long way to support us. I'm Ernestly speaking, and I will see you next time.